Hello everyone! We are excited to announce that our newest pattern, the Couture Rose pattern, has just dropped on edelweisspatterns.com. This is a kind of rose that began in the 1950s in Paris, and it's very similar to what's called the Dior rose. So as you can see, you can put this on formal gowns, you can put this on t-shirts, you can put this on sweaters, on more casual tops. And it's a really fun and easy way to immediately elevate your outfit by just pinning something on really quickly. So this is a complimentary tutorial for the Couture Rose pattern available on edelweisspatterns.com. And what I'm doing here is I am taking the smallest rose petal from our pattern and I'm folding it in half lengthwise. Now this part can be done either on the machine or by hand. I'm doing it by hand because certain parts of the sewing does need to be hand sewn, so it's just going to make it simpler if we do it all at once. And what I'm doing is a gathering stitch. So this is not a seam per se. This is not something that's going to take strain. It's not a shoulder seam that's going to have people pulling on it. It's just a gathering stitch. And so I'm intentionally making the stitches longer, significantly longer than if I was sewing a seam. Now when you get to the end, you're going to pull up those threads and you're going to begin to roll one end of the rose petal over to the other edge. And once you're satisfied with the shape, you're going to take the same needle and thread and start stitching from one end to the other at several different angles, coming at it from different directions to make sure it's all held together. So what I'm doing here is I'm just tying it off. I'm tying a knot in the thread and we're going to clip it and set it aside, and then we're going to move on to the medium couture rose petal. So we're going to follow the exact same process with the next largest up petal. This is the medium one. We're pinning it after we fold it in half, and then we're going to do another row of gathering stitches. This is about 1/4 inch from the edge. I can't remember if I said that. This is in the instructions. The instructions have color photographs and lots of details, but some people are more visual learners, so I wanted to offer it this way as well. So you can see we've gathered this one up as well, and we're just going to distribute the fabric evenly. And then you're going to want to take that smallest rose petal, and we're going to begin to wrap the medium rose petal around the smaller one. And once you make it just a little ways around, you're going to want to tack through all the layers at the bottom edge to make sure that it doesn't slip apart. So you can see what we're doing is we're coming at it from several different angles to make sure that everything is very nicely held together. And when you're finished, you're just going to tie a knot in the thread and clip it off. So here we have the first 2 petals sewn together. The third step is to take our large rose petal. This is going to be the last petal for this flower. and again fold it in half and begin your gathering stitches. And now we're taking that rosebud that we made, the combination of the first two petals, and very carefully wrap it around just a little bit at a time and stitch it very nicely at the edge to make sure everything's held together. And just keep stitching it back and forth through all the layers until you feel like everything is firmly held in place. I'm not sure if you can hear, but on the day that I'm filming this, there's actually a thunderstorm outside our house right now, so I do apologize if there's any background noise. So we have just finished the first rose. It is comprised of 3 petals. What we want to do is make 2 more. So you're going to have 3 roses. Each rose has 3 petals inside. Now this is a circle of fabric taken from the Couture Rose Base, which is a pattern piece that you get when you purchase the digital download. And what I'm doing here is I'm just doing, again, a gathering or a running stitch, this time 1/8 of an inch from the edge. Now if you're new to sewing or this doesn't sound like fun for you, you can totally skip this part. In that case, just cut it out of felt, because felt is not going to fray, so you're not going to have to gather it and turn the raw edge of the circle under. Literally just cut it out of felt, use a hot glue gun, put some dots of glue around the edge, and then cover the edge of the rose and hold it in place. This is the official way to do it. This is the couture way. Couture is French for sewing, but it really implies something a lot more than just sewing. It's like a very high quality, hands-on approach to sewing. So what I'm doing is I'm turning under a teensy little bit. I'm turning under the circle on that line that we did the gathering stitches, about 1/8 of an inch away from the edge. You turn it under a little bit at a time, and then you're going to do a hand prick stitch to hold it in place. A prick stitch is where you take a larger amount of the fabric underneath, but a shorter amount on the outside. So it's called a prick stitch because it's just like this tiny little prick of the thread. You can see I'm using red thread here, and you can almost not see it on the parts where it is stitched on. If you do have to make your threads or your stitches longer, do not worry about it. Nobody's going to see this part anyhow. This is going to go on the pin. And I have to say, this is actually a lot easier in person than it looks on the video. You kind of get the swing of it and you just keep going. So what we've done is we've just turned under a little bit, stitched it down, turned under a little bit more from the circle, stitched it down again, all the way around till the entire circle is finished. And then we're tying a knot and we're going to clip the threads off. And once you have those 3 roses from the same fabric, it's going to be time to put them onto a pin base. So this one right here is called a dual brooch pin, and I have to be honest, this is very hard to find. I went to no less than 3 craft stores in my area and they did not carry them anymore. So I can only find them on Amazon. I have linked to them below so that you can find them if that's the kind you want to use. I recommend it for all of these ones here. This green silk one, I have just put 1 rosette on a regular pin base that you will probably be able to find at your local craft store. I do not recommend that kind of pin for the set of 3. It's just not going to give you the stability you need. So this one here, these ivory ones, they have been made from lining fabric. Now this minty aqua set of Couture roses is made from a semi-sheer cotton Swiss dot, and the gold ones here are made of silk dupioni. and I love these couture roses made from silk du peony. Again, you guys, it takes a 1/4 yard of fabric, and so if you don't want to go break the bank and make an entire dress out of silk du peony, you buy a 1/4 yard and it looks like $1,000,000. This red one here is made of cotton sateen, so it's a little bit thicker. If you use a very thick fabric, you may have to make the circle a little bit larger, but you can just see there's so many possibilities of fabrics and colors. And excuse me here, I am taking a break for tea. I love tea, you guys. I have been to England many times, and every time I go to England and all the time that I'm here at home in America, I drink tea. This is lavender Earl Grey. Okay, what we're doing here is we are going to hot glue the roses together. So you know we have 3 of each color. So whichever fabric and color you have chosen to make, you want to start to glue them together. And I'm holding them once I've put glue on the sides. For the sake of time, I have edited a lot of time out. But once they're dry and they've been held together, you're going to want to do hot glue to have all 3 facing each other. So you want the curved edges where we started and finished, like the openings of the roses, to be towards the middle. That is the classic 1950s couture rose design. So again, I'm putting glue on the side. I'm going to match it up to the free rose, and then I'm going to pinch them together, make sure that's held in place for a good couple minutes before I put it down to dry. Again, I have edited out a lot of time here, and that side has dried, and we're just completing the project here by wrapping up the final sides and gluing them together. So now, once the sides have been sufficiently dried, we're just going to go back in with the glue gun and add a little bit to the points of contact down on the bases of the roses, because the base is what's going to be attached to the pin, so we want to make sure it's stable and everything's connected. And then you're going to let that dry for probably a good half hour. And once you feel like it's dry and everything is held in place, you're going to take your dual clip pin. Again, you can do this with the kind that goes through your outfit, or the alligator clip, which is the one I prefer. And you're going to put a very generous amount of hot glue completely covering this circle. And it's going to make it easier for it to grab onto the bases of the rose. And then you're going to want to center it over one of the rose bases, hold it in place, and let it dry. That is how you make couture roses. Tops, you can put them on sweaters, you can put them on your high heels, you can put them on the hems of ball gowns. The possibilities are really limitless, and I really hope that you enjoy making these, because they are so much fun, and they're fun to give as gifts as well. So again, these are available on edelweisspatterns.com. I will link everything down below. I hope you enjoyed watching this, and I will see you next time.